Good day, everyone. Kumusta? I hope everyone is in the pink of health and safe and sound wherever you are. Welcome to the second session of our course for this week. I am Alfie Curacelo, and for this session, I will be demonstrating to you on how to create rubrics using an online tool called Rubistar. We have three learning outcomes for this topic. First is to discuss the essentials in rubric creation. Second is to explore an online tool called Rubistar for rubric creation. And third is to create rubrics using Rubistar. Our presentation is divided into 7 parts. We begin with an introduction to rubrics and our rubric tool Rubistar. Then we sign up to Rubistar. Then we create a rubric from scratch. Then search for an existing rubric. Next, we edit an existing rubric to make it our own, and then we print and download a saved rubric. And finally, tips in creating and using rubrics. A rubric is an essential part in assessment, especially in performance tasks and projects. As a teacher, how do you describe a rubric? What is your impression of a rubric? And why is it needed? A rubric is an assessment tool that clearly outlines expectations for student work. A rubric describes which performances will be assessed and specifies the criteria for assessing them. Rubrics are a time-honored tool in the classroom. They identify the goal of a particular lesson, communicate clear expectations to students in regard to their work, and spell out the criteria for success. Rubrics can be used throughout the process of student work, making them useful for project-based learning implementations. Because rubrics describe what high performance looks like, they are great tools to help students gauge their work and provide an opportunity for conversation between students and teachers about high quality work. With a rubric in place, you can assess how well your students understood and learned the lesson, and if you need to reteach certain concepts. Think of the rubric as a roadmap for each lesson or concept you're trying to teach. Teachers who use rubrics have a clear path for instruction and a means by which to assess student progress. For teachers, rubrics could help them in providing focus on the desired outcome of the lesson. At the same time, it helps to eliminate distractions related to the lesson topic, which allows for consistent grading from the first assignment to the final project. It also allows for quicker, fairer, accurate, and more transparent grading. Lastly, its results clarify lesson elements that may need additional attention. For students, the rubrics define the goals of the lesson for them as well as specifies the elements to make up the lesson. It also allows them to check their work against the rubric to determine if they have met all criteria before submitting their work. And it conditions them on their expectations for fairness in grading. What are the parts of the rubric? We have the components or criteria found at the leftmost column. We have the levels of performance on the topmost row. The scores for each criteria found at the rightmost column, and the content of the criteria at the center. A rubric should have 3 or 4 levels of performance. This can be described numerically or with descriptive terms such as novice, apprentice, proficient, and distinguished. How you describe these levels should reflect the age and literacy levels of your learners, as well as the culture of your learning environment. As for the content of the criteria, meeting curriculum goals and standards is always an important part of project work. Assessment should reflect the topic and project goals and include specific criteria that meet curriculum standards and knowledge requirements. Content requirements may also include quality of research, the use of accurate and respected sources, as well as proper citation. Here are some of the online rubric makers wherein you can access them for free. Some are ready-made, while others are customizable according to our activity or project. For the session, we will utilize RubyStar. Many teachers would want to use rubrics or are experimenting with creating rubrics, but they can be quite time-consuming to develop. RubyStar is a tool that facilitates teachers who wants to use rubrics but do not have the time to develop them from scratch. It provides generic rubrics that can simply be printed and used for many typical projects and research assignments. The unique thing about RubyStar is that it provides these generic rubrics in a format that can be customized. We can change almost all suggested text in the rubric to make it fit our own project. RubyStar also does away with the tedious typing of similar content across all the various quality rating. When we choose a category to evaluate, all the quality ratings are filled in and are ready for customization. RubyStar allows you to sign up, log in and out, search for ready-made rubrics and print it, edit or customize ready-made rubrics to make it our own. We could also start from scratch and then retrieve what we have made when we log into our account and download only the rubric that we have customized or made. Let's access RubyStar now.